Hello everyone, this is part 16 of What If Naruto and Hinata Had a Kid, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. The late afternoon sun was getting almost unbearably hot. The late afternoon sun was getting almost unbearably hot. Or maybe it was just Hinata who was getting so hot on account of carrying a sleeping toddler almost the entire way home from the zoo. Balancing the sleeping child on her arm and one side of her body, she fished out the keys from her bag. The thought of a wonderful long shower was all she could think of as she fished the keys out of her bag with her free hand. Inside, a burst of cold air hit her face and she sighed at the wonderful feeling. Carefully she placed her sleeping daughter on the couch. She would probably be asleep for another hour or so. It was too early to make dinner. A shower didn't sound so bad, just a quick one. Something to get the sweat and grime off her and make her feel refreshed. She went to her bedroom, getting the baby monitor from her side of the bed that sat next to a framed picture of a very young-looking blonde man and herself smiling at each other. Then she got the other monitor from her daughter's room and placed it next to her sleeping daughter. After that, Hinata got a change of clothes, taking them into her bathroom. She left the door very slightly ajar. Her daughter knew not to walk in on mommy in the bathroom, but it was always good to hear things outside. As the shower ran to lukewarm water, she undressed. Her body was not as fit and tight as it was about 5 years ago. Her hips had always been bigger than the average ninja girl, but after childbirth they seemed to have gotten a bit bigger, though her husband claimed to have absolutely no problem to that. Her stomach was flat again thanks to some light training with Hanabi and the other girls here and there, but she certainly didn't have the definition she used to have. Although you probably couldn't tell any difference in her stomach due to the change in her chest. They had always been big, but after childbirth and feeding, now they were just annoying and at times painful. Sighing and rubbing the soreness out of her left arm and shoulder, Hinata stepped into the inviting shower to wash the day's events off her body. Showers were certainly a new and rare thing for her. Sure, her husband helped when he was around, but most of the time Hinata was a single mother and had learned how to do things herself. She learned how to go the entire day on 20 minutes of sleep when Yumi was born. She learned how to go the entire day on one small meal because she never had time to feed herself. She learned how to even go days without taking a shower because she couldn't leave the baby alone for more than a few seconds. Becoming a mother changed everything about her life. She was responsible for a life other than her own. She never thought of herself as selfish before Yumi, but after her now Hinata never did think of herself. Everything was about her daughter. Every choice she made was made on how it would affect her daughter. Would it keep her daughter safe? Would it keep her daughter happy? When asked, Hinata always said she would go back to being a ninja eventually. She didn't lie about missing it, but when she looked at the bright smiling face with shining blue eyes, she couldn't bring herself to leave it. If she went back to being a ninja, where would Yumi go? What would happen to her if Hinata was sent away and didn't come back? In truth, Hinata was beginning to lean toward the idea of never going back. As she entertained the thought of forever being a stay-at-home mom, the baby monitor began to call her name. Not even washing her hair, Hinata jumped out of the shower and into her clothes to rush out the door. Her hair still wet and her shirt almost sticking to her body, she ran to the living room. Mommy, Yumi asked, her eyes on the verge of tears. Yumi, what's the matter, baby? I not find you, mommy, where you go? Touched but somehow annoyed, Hinata smiled down her at her daughter and touching her head. I was taking a bath, Yumi. Even mommy has to be clean sometimes. Yumi seemed to contemplate this before her eyes flashed brightly. Mommy, I hungry, she piped up, getting off the couch, rubbing the sleep out of her eyes. Okay, let make dinner, Hinata said, walking to the kitchen, her daughter following and talking about a dream she had involving a big blue shoe and a rocket car. How many times had she been in the hospital since she found out she was pregnant? Was it more or less than the average rate? Then again, was any overnight visit in the hospital when pregnant normal? She didn't really know any pregnant woman to ask other than her old teacher, who mentioned the only time she was in the hospital was when she went into labor. Was that normal? If so, then Hinata apparently had something to worry about. She had been told her pregnancy was beginning to go into high risk. She had to be monitored before Dr. Kyoto felt comfortable enough for her to go home. Once she did, she would be under instruction to do absolutely nothing that would make her stress or even feel stress. What exactly did that mean? A life with no stress? How could she not have stress? She was a former ninja who was married to an active ninja who was currently away on no doubt a suicidal mission. She was alone while her pregnancy was at high risk, and the life of her child could very well be in danger. Just what exactly did Dr. Kyoto have in mind when it came to no stress? While wondering how she could do such a thing when stress and worry was pretty much all she knew in her daily life, her door opened and Hinata snapped her attention. She didn't really get visitors since all her friends were busy with their ninja lives, so she knew it was the doctor, and lately when the doctor came in it was rarely with good news. Morning Hinata, Dr. Kyoto began. You look much better today, how do you feel? Much better today, thank you. That's good because I have wonderful news for you. Oh, yesterday you were going to be discharged. That is good news. Hinata smiled brightly. She was looking forward to going home and sleeping in her own bed and eating her own food. However, there is more to it. More. Yes, while you are being discharged, I'm sorry to say you are still at very high risk and we can't seem to take any chances for your safety and that of the child. Still, I thought I was doing better. You are. Your blood pressure has dropped considerably and your blood work is very good, but you're still at risk for serious problems between now and your due date. Why? Remember when I told you about your previous life as a ninja? That has a lot to do with it, and you're only 17. Your body may still not be completely developed to carry out a pregnancy. We must take precaution to ensure the safety of you and the child. Okay, which brings up another topic I'd like to discuss with you. We have to begin you on bed rest until you go into the labor. Bed rest. Yes, meaning you will rest in a bed all day and every day until you're ready to give birth. You should have everything done for you that you can. Doesn't sound so bad, huh? Like you're being treated like royalty. Dr. Kyoto laughed at herself, but Hinata could only bring herself to half-heartedly smile. Bed rest didn't sound too bad, but who would do it for her? Naruto was out of town until further notice, as well as Sakura. Ino was busy filling in her spot on her team, and her team was busy doing things without her. There wasn't really anyone she could call to help her, and she wasn't allowed to set foot in her own home, so family was out of the question. Doctor. Yes. I don't know who to. I mean, Naruto is gone on a mission, and everyone I know is, well, busy, so I don't know who could really help me. I'm glad you brought that up, Hinata. It seems your husband took it upon himself to get this sorted out. Naruto. Hinata asked, not being able to hide her curiosity. Since when did Naruto think ahead like that? Yes, he said due to the current strained relationship with your family, and since he has no kin on his side, he has asked for a separate next of kin to your name. He did. Who? Hinata was still astounded and confused. Naruto did such a thing, but also curious on whom he considered next of kin. Yes, she looked at her clipboard. Inuzuka Kiba. Kiba. Hinata repeated in a less timid and graceful way. Naruto said he believed you two were very good friends, and I believe he stated he trusted Kiba with you more than anyone else. Are you two not good friends? No, I mean yes we are, but, really Kiba. Hinata did consider Kiba one of her very best friends, but didn't he and Naruto fight constantly? Wasn't Kiba ready to beat Naruto to a bleeding pulp when he found out she was pregnant in the first place? Wasn't it Kiba who refused to say a word to Naruto when they started dating? Why did Naruto call Kiba for help? They had plenty of other friends and ex-teachers to ask for this kind of help. Yes, Kiba. Speaking of which, when you are ready to go, Mr. Inuzuka will be waiting for her when you are discharged. I think he's waiting in the lobby now. Now. Yes, now. Whenever you're ready to go, Hinata, just call the nurses and they'll come get you. I should be going so you can change. Dr. Kyoto turned to leave with a large friendly smile on her face. Have a good day, Hinata, and remember to stay unstressed and as comfortable as possible. When the door shut, Hinata was left completely dumbstruck. So she was under doctor's orders to stay completely unstressed and possible. She was also suddenly in the care of a childhood friend who she was very sure did not get along with her husband unless she was around. She was told to get ready to leave the hospital as soon as possible to begin her bed rest. She was begging to feel very confused at everything happening all at once, but the main thing that seemed to just begin to eat at her brain was Kiba. Kiba, really? As if on cue, the said dark-haired man walked through the door. He smiled brightly at her, his coat on but his hood down showing his scruffy hair. Hinata could not help but return the smile. It was hard not to smile at Kiba when he looked at you like that. So sweet and even innocent looking behind his sharp canine teeth and red tattoos. You ready? He asked, looking at her up and down. No, Hinata said, pulling the sheets around her very thin hospital gown. I think they want us to leave as soon as possible, so you might want to get ready. Right, Hinata snapped out of her confused daze and looked for her clothes. They were next to Kiba. Why were they on the other side of the room? Seeing where she was looking, Kiba grabbed her clothes and handed them to her. Thank you, she said, taking them, bringing them to her chest. Kiba, she blushed, looking away. Can you, please turn around or, leave the room please? Oh, right, Kiba said quickly and pivoted out the door. Once he was gone and she was sure the door was closed, she began to dress. There was a pair of sweatpants and a black shirt. She didn't remember owning a pair of sweatpants and a black shirt that size. Naruto must have grabbed whatever he could find in such a hurry. Before slipping the shirt on, she smelled it. A lazy smile came across her lips. It still smelled like him. It smelled so much like him, as if he had just taken off the shirt and handed it to her here and there. Wanting to just stand there and smell in the scent of her husband, Hinata remembered her friend waiting for her and dressed quickly. Once fully dressed, she grabbed her shoes from the table across the room and sat on her bed. She gave a good look to her very round stomach. When standing, she could not see her toes, meaning this was probably about to get very hard. Deciding it was worth a try, she took her right shoe and lifted her right leg. She stretched, but her large stomach prevented her from ever getting close to it. She bent her knee next, but still couldn't get over her stomach. Next, she tried getting her shoe by bending her knee backwards, but that resulted in nothing but a painful cramp on the back of her thigh. Getting desperate, she threw the shoes facing up on the floor, deciding it would be easiest to just step into them. However, when this proved unsuccessful, Hinata was now left with the task of how to pick up her shoes off the floor when she could not bend over. Outside, Kiba must have figured she had enough time and was getting impatient. He cracked open the door and called to her. When she didn't answer right away, he opened the door all the way and found her. He tried not to laugh at the sight of his shy friend. What are you doing? He asked, tilting his head. Hinata was in the strangest position. Something between a squat and bending over, reaching for her pair of shoes that were on the floor. She seemed to be straining herself. Trying to put my shoes on, Hinata said with a shy and embarrassed blush on her face. They're kind of far away from you for that, huh? He asked, teasing her. Hinata knew he was just doing for fun, but right now she was getting frustrated with the entire situation and Kiba's poking wasn't helping. Kiba, she warned, still doing her best to reach her shoes but making no progress. Here, Kiba voiced and walked toward her. You're just going to hurt yourself or the parasite inside you. He touched her shoulder, pulling her up. He motioned for her to sit down on the chair by the bed and got her shoes for her. Hinata watched almost astonished as Kiba put on and fastened her shoes for her. Kiba was not known to show kind gestures to anyone, so when they did happen it was like seeing a blue moon. As a matter of fact, it was often joked seeing the dog man act such a way to anyone would only be in a blue moon. Hinata wondered if they were due for a full moon tonight. Kiba, she asked as he began fastening the other foot. Why are you? I mean, why did Naruto ask you to? Her voice trailed off and she looked to her knees. Why did she feel like she was asking a personal question? Going into something perhaps she shouldn't know about. Why did he ask me to help you? Kiba asked. It's more than that, Kiba, he labeled you the next of kin. I thought you two always hated each other. Kiba laughed and reached a hand out to help her out of her chair. It was more of a friendly rivalry than a hate. He began to lead her to the door, his hand still on her back. He said you were in here and would need looking after when you got out. He asked me, probably because he knows you trust me. Did he say that? Not in so many words, but I got the point. Why would you rather have someone else? Ino or 1010 maybe. I think Tenten is out on a mission with her team and Ino is busy with her flower shop most of the time too, so they might be hard to contact. No, that's not what I meant. Thank you, Kiba. No sweat. He extended his hand to an object when they were out the door. Hinata looked at it and raised her eyebrows. A wheelchair. Doctor's orders. Kiba answered, shrugging. She asked me to see to it you rode out in this thing. Who knew elevators could be so exhausting? Thankfully Hinata did not have to take the 6 blocks home from the hospital in a wheelchair. They managed to get out of it as they left when Kiba promised to make sure Hinata did not overexert herself in any way from the hospital to her home. Hinata tried not to roll her eyes in front of her doctor. She knew it was precaution, but really, walking. They also got a list of foods Hinata was to stay away from and a list of foods she could eat, and another list of drinks and foods she was to eat at least once a day to get her much-needed source of vitamins. After several more promises to stay in bed at all times and resting all day until the day her child was to grace them with her presence, they were able to leave and were now home. The walk itself was not exhausting, but when they saw the stairs, Kiba refused to let her walk the entire way up and insisted on carrying her bridal style. Unable to come up with a good argument against this, she accepted it and quietly let him take her to her apartment. What happened in here? Kiba asked when Hinata used the spare key to open the door to a complete mess in her apartment. She looked around trying to remember how it got into such a mess. She remembered throwing the clothes around in a fit of not finding anything to wear. She remembered the fight her and Naruto had when Naruto was making himself something to eat, which explained the mess in the kitchen. And when she was in the hospital, Naruto probably had to get her clothes and therefore only caused more mess doing that and his packing. Naruto must have been in a hurry, she said with a small sigh, closing the door behind her. She knew she should clean, but after the walk home under the sun and the fight with Naruto still fresh in her mind, all she wanted to do now was sleep. She started to move articles of clothing off her bed and fixing the large comforter and sheets beneath them. She fluffed the pillows the way she liked them, her body beginning to feel strangely heavy. Do you need anything? Kiba's tentative voice asked from his unmoving spot by the door. She had almost forgotten he was there. No, I'm just going to take a nap, I'll be fine. She sat down on the bed, sinking down into the soft mattress. What about something to eat when you wake up? I'll make something from the kitchen, it's okay. She yawned and flipped off her shoes. She let her body fall into the bed below her and sighed deeply, breathing in that wonderful scent left over from where Naruto slept. She curled into his spot on the bed and let his smell and his warm bed carry her away to a peaceful sleep. Something she hadn't had in what seemed like forever, and in no time she was out for the night. She didn't remember her dream or if she even dreamed at all. She felt her body stir before her eyes opened. She rolled over and groaned as the sun invaded her comfortable dark space under the blankets. Wait, the sun. Was it still in the afternoon? Did she sleep at all? With a sudden urge to visit the bathroom, Hinata got out of bed and tried not to scream at what she saw. In the span of what must have been an hour or two, her apartment had been completely cleaned. The mess that had been thrown around was gone. Her suitcases were neatly packed and put against the closet. There were no papers or mess littering around the small apartment, making it look bigger than it really was. She looked over at the kitchen and gasped again. All the dirty dishes were clean and put away. The garbage was taken out and replaced. The stove looked like it had even been whipped down, completely cleaned. Who did this? Did Kiba do this? How did he all this in about an hour? Why did he do it? The door opened behind and quietly shut. She turned utterly confused, looking at Kiba, who was carrying a very large brown paper bag. He smiled brightly at her confused face and walked into the kitchen. Kiba, she started, still utterly confused. Good to see you're awake. I was afraid you were going to go into a coma. A coma, she repeated, watching him take out the contents of the paper bag. You were asleep all day after we got back yesterday. All day, she repeated again. What time was it now? Had she really slept all day and all night? Yeah, I was afraid I was going to wake you up when I was cleaning, but I don't think you would have noticed a hurricane come through here the way you were sleeping. Kiba began to move around the kitchen, putting away the variety of fruits, vegetables, and other products away in the refrigerator and pantry. She was surprised he knew his way around the kitchen so fast. You cleaned everything? Hinata asked again, looking around the room. Well, yeah, Kiba said, now beginning to gather the trash left over by opening the vegetables and such. Your doctor said as stress-free as possible, right? My sister always said being in a clean house always made her more comfortable, so I just figured you know. It wasn't really hard finding out where you put everything. I figured your stuff would be in your suitcases, so I just threw it all back in there. You might want to look through there later. Kiba, Hinata stared at her friend as if he had spawned a second head. Who was this guy? The Kiba she knew was loud, obnoxious, and at times smelled worse than his own dog. Kiba, what about a Kamaru? She asked, picking up an very red apple he had placed in a fruit bowl. She didn't even know she had a fruit bowl. I asked my sister to look after him while I'm with you. With me? Hinata repeated in her head. Why did that sound a little wrong to her? Kiba, look, this is all very, well, amazing, but you didn't have to do all this. The dark-haired man looked at her with puppy-like eyes. I know I don't have to, Hinata, but you're my best friend and Naruto asked me to take care of you, so I'm going to do that. What about your missions, and what about Shino and Ino? I told them what was going on and they're fine. If anything, we can take shifts. Shino can cook for you and Ino can keep you company if I need to go on a mission. Kiba, she started, but he only smiled a bright fanged grin. Don't worry, Hinata. I'm here to take care of you just like I promised. Deciding that all argument had been lost, Hinata accepted his generosity and excused herself to shower. After all, she had been asleep for about a day and a half. When she was out of the shower, Hinata tried not to act surprised when Kiba placed a fresh food of fruits and veggies in front of her, saying something about keeping to the list her doctor gave her. She tried not to act surprised when he sat down across from her and began a civil conversation. She tried not to be completely thrown off by this new civilized, caring, sweet Kiba compared to the loud and obnoxious man she had grown up with. Half of her wanted to bask in his new refreshing turn, while the other half wanted to shake him and ask him where the pod people put the real Kiba. After they ate, he offered to clean up, another phenomenon she was not used to, but didn't see the point in arguing with him either. While Kiba cleaned, Hinata decided to sort out the clothes that had been thrown in her suitcase. She didn't attempt to heave the suitcase onto bed, instead simply sitting on the bed bending over the large stuff bag. When she unzipped it, she was half surprised things did not fly out of her like a jack-in-the-box. After sorting out a pile into clean and dirty clothes, she began to fold the clean. She was folding a pair of pants when she heard a crinkle of paper. She unfolded the pair and 2 pieces of thick paper fell to the bed. Curious, Hinata inspected them and soon almost started to cry. They were the pictures from their honeymoon. It seemed so long ago, she wondered why she never put them in a frame as soon as she got home. She had completely forgotten of their existence with the way everything had gone from one major drama scene to the next. She ran her fingers over his face, outlining his features as he smiled into the camera. They both looked so happy there, so at peace, as if nothing bad had ever happened to them. She heard the kitchen sink stop running and Kiba entered the room again, saying something about running an errand, but Hinata was too lost looking into those bright blue eyes to pay attention. So, I'm going to leave now, Hinata. I need to do some training with Shino. There's some stuff in your fridge if you get hungry, and I'll try to be back as soon as I can. Hinata. Oh. No, Kiba, I'll be okay, thank you. Do you need anything before I go? No, I think. She ran her finger over his smiling face once more. Actually, Kiba, can you get me a picture frame when you come back? A picture frame? Yeah, about this size. She held up the picture for him to see and he nodded, glancing at the photo then back at her. Sure. Anything else? No. She shook her head. But thank you for everything, really. I want to do it, no need to thank me. He turned to the door. I'll be back soon, okay? Bye, Kiba. Bye, Hinata. She watched him leave, giving her a sweet smile that she returned until the door was closed and she was left alone yet again. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.